In August 2016, a detective in Franklin got a call about a hungry boy selling his teddy bear for food. The detective found the 7-year-old boy wandering alone and trying to trade his teddy bear for food. The detective decided to help him, not knowing that this small act of kindness would change both their lives. What started as just doing his job ended up completely changing the detective's life. Detective Steve Dunham loved being a police officer more than anything else. He had dreamed of being a great detective since he was a child, inspired by the detectives in movies. He graduated top of his class at the Ohio Police Academy and quickly rose through the ranks in the Franklin Police Department, where he has served for over 20 years. Being a policeman gave Steve's life meaning. He focused on caring for and protecting the people in his city, often putting his duty above his personal life. He was quiet and reserved, keeping his private life private. Despite his dedication, his work made it hard for him to have a lasting romantic relationship. His girlfriends would end things once they realized his job would always come first. His friends would tell him that he should work less and try to worry more about himself, but he never listened to them. Since the death of his father, a police sergeant killed in the line of duty hunting down thieves, Steve became even more self-absorbed, and his mission as a police officer became personal. He felt that if he failed his job, he would also be failing his father, and that drove him to work even harder. Don't you wish you had someone waiting for you at home when you got back from saving the city from the bad guys? Someone to hug you and tell you they missed you while you were out there risking your life? Really, don't you need that? Steve's mother once asked him as they ate lunch together on Steve's day off, "You know, that's secondary to me, Mom. Don't worry about me. Really, I'm happy this way." He would tell his mother, though he sounded less and less convincing each time. "Your father would be just as proud of you whatever you do, son. You know that, don't you?" He loved being a cop, but above all, he loved us, and you, his only son, were his greatest pride. "I'm sure he would want that for you," she told him one last time, even though she knew it was practically impossible to change his mind. Steve was really stubborn. "Dad would want me to do my duty, and that's what I do. I never forget about him, Mom, never," Steve concluded, ending the conversation. What Steve could not foresee was that his whole life would change completely, precisely because he was doing his duty, and what he so much disowned would end up giving him the happiness he so longed for and refused to admit. On August 16, 2016, Steve was making his usual rounds in the district streets when he received a radio tip that would change everything. It turned out that his team received an alarming call alerting them that there was an unsupervised toddler wandering around a busy area. As his colleagues informed him, the child was outside a pharmacy trying to trade his teddy bear for some food. They also explained that the child, who appeared to be no more than 6 years old, was in very poor condition. He showed clear signs of neglect with a dirty appearance and extreme thinness that set off the officer's alarms. "Can you get closer to that street, Steve? You're the closest officer to the area when we got the call. Go see what it's all about and try to help the kid," his partner asked him over the internal radio. "Of course, partner. I'll take care of the boy. I'll be there in less than 10 minutes. Over and out," Steve replied, getting into his patrol car to get there as soon as possible. Upon arrival, Dunham found a boy right where his co-workers had said. Seeing him, Steve felt a pang of sadness he rarely felt before. This child was all alone, in a pitiful physical condition, and in desperate need of his help. The kid was walking up and down the street with his little teddy bear in his arms, asking people passing by for something to eat. It was truly a sad sight of a home. Steve approached him slowly and tried to engage him in conversation. He knew he had to talk to him calmly and without the boy thinking he was going to punish him for what he was doing. He was barely 7 years old, and he couldn't treat him like any normal citizen. The boy wouldn't understand. Dunham crouched down next to the boy and spoke to him as lovingly as he could, so as not to scare him and to gain his trust. "Hey, little guy, how are you? What's your name?" Steve asked as the boy looked at him with a frightened face and kept his distance. "My name's Brad, sir. Am I in trouble? You're a cop, aren't you?" "My brother says the cops always show up when someone has done something wrong," the boy replied in a weak voice, avoiding looking him straight in the eye for too long. "You're not in any trouble, Brad. I'm here to help you, and you can trust me. My name's Steve, and I'm pleased to meet you," Steve said to reassure him and gave him a big smile. After several minutes of conversation, the boy relaxed and began to trust Steve. They sat down on a nearby bench, and Brad explained that he was very hungry and was trying to sell this toy because he hadn't eaten anything for more than 3 days. Upon hearing his story, Steve took the boy to the nearest restaurant in the area next to the subway stop and brought him a full menu to make sure the boy would be well fed for a few hours. Afterward, while Brad ate a giant hamburger and fries, he explained to Dunham the real reason he had to take to the streets to beg for food. The truth was that the boy was the youngest of 5 siblings, all of whom were living in the same conditions as him and needed urgent help to escape the bad life their parents were giving them, 2 alcohol and drug addicts that the police had not been able to catch at the time. When he finished eating, Steve took him to the police station to take a statement officially and then decided what to do with him and his brothers. Brad's story had moved him deeply, and he felt he had to do something urgently to save him from the life his parents had condemned them to live. Don't worry about anything, Brad. With me, you're safe. I assure you I won't leave you alone, and I will do everything I can to help your 4 brothers as well, Dunham assured the boy in the police car as they drove to the station. When they arrived at the police station, one of Steve's colleagues took charge of the boy while he and his colleagues on the squad went to investigate Brad's parents and find out what was going on with the rest of his siblings. The patrol went to the home where Brad had told them they lived, and what they found was truly terrible. His colleagues reported that the 7-year-old's abode was in deplorable condition. The house had bugs, the stench of cat urine, and bottles of alcohol. In addition, as Brad had said, 4 other boys aged 11, 12, 15, and 17 were also found there. All of them were in the same condition as Brad, and it was obvious they had not eaten for several days and had not been able to clean themselves properly. The police also took them to the police station, provided them with food and clean clothes. Afterwards, each of the boys made an official statement explaining the whole truth about their parents and the way of life they had led up to that point. The oldest of the brothers, Sean, was about to come of age and was looking forward to being able to leave home and take his younger siblings with him to escape their parents' poverty and drugs. Following the statements of the 5 siblings, the parents of the children, Tammy and Michael, were charged with 10 counts of child endangerment and were immediately and permanently stripped of custody of all their children. The oldest, 17, was left temporarily living with a trusted friend, while the younger children were left with close relatives who received temporary custody. The parents' arrest and the children's story made national news, and soon everyone knew the terrible truth that those poor children were hiding in broad daylight. The next day, social media exploded with hundreds of comments praising the work of the police force, making a special mention of Detective Dunham for his dedication to the case and his extreme delicacy in caring for the youngest of his siblings. The Franklin Police Department received many messages praising their work, including one that said, "Thank you so much, officers. Ohio is much safer because of your excellent work." This news became so well known that the St. Vincent de Paul Society started an online donation drive to help the children. The Franklin, Ohio Police Department shared this on their Facebook page, welcoming donations. The society quickly received donations from around the world, raising enough money to help all the children. A few months later, the children's parents went to court. They claimed innocence, but the court found them guilty and sent them to jail for a long time, keeping them away from their children forever. The real happy ending came when Brad, the youngest brother, asked to stay with Detective Dunham. Brad didn't want to become a cop like him, but wanted to stay with him because he trusted him. Steve accepted, and a few weeks later, Brad became his legal guardian. Steve's only mission now was to take care of and protect his son above all else. What do you think of Steve's action? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.